What's going on, everybody? Today we have some unexpected news. Well, not totally unexpected. I knew a suspect test was coming. Now that I'm just getting back into the hang of competitive Pokemon, and it looks like right away I'm going to be able to participate in a suspect test. Well, that is if I care enough. So Sablenite and Shadow Tag are going to be considered to be banned. I guess my first impression is that I'm not too sure about the Sableye ban. I know that anecdotal evidence is really not enough to support my claims, but I guess my real problem with a Sableye ban is that I feel like it suffers from the same thing that Rotom W does, and even then Rotom W actually has resistances to take advantage of its bulk, but in terms of raw bulk just to take neutral hits, Sableye just doesn't have it. I looked at its typing, it only resists poison. Yes, it resists fighting in normal, but one of the most prominent fighting types in the tier, actually Oko Sableye with high jump kick. Obviously, I'm referring to Mega Lopunny. But aside from the fact that Mega Sableye, I think it has many good qualities. There's no doubt about that. I believe the post explains about how it's really hard to pivot around Mega Sableye because of Magic Bounce, which is one of the it restricts one of the major ways to handle stall teams, is the ability to just set up hazards and put the pressure, and Sableye really restricts that. But I just don't think it's that hard to pressure Sableye with hard-hitting neutral attacks because it doesn't have the raw bulk to support the rest of its good qualities. Decent typing, even though I don't think it has the resistances that it needs to really be a defensive threat, because my impression is that they're wanting to I'm not saying anybody wants to ban it, but they're suspecting it on its defensive merits, and part of that is, quote, being able to wall off a significant portion of the metagame, not even most of the metagame, a significant portion. Obviously we know that fairy types beat Sableye, so there's no need for me to explain that. But that is a problem for it because fairy types, I think, are on almost every team nowadays except for the really offensive ones. And the problem with that is that the really offensive ones are going to be the teams that are beating down on Sableye constantly with neutral hits. Stuff like Kyurem B, stuff like Hoopa Unbound, stuff like Manaphy, Keldeo, all those Pokemon. Sableye just can't really handle 1v1. They hit it neutrally and they hit it hard. I ran a calc just now. I knew this calc from the top of my head, but I just wanted to run the numbers again. Sableye actually gets 2-hit KO'd after coming in on rocks from the Jolly Garchomp's Outrage. When you see a calc like that, well, yes, that's assuming that rocks are already up, and the point of this test is that it's hard to get hazards up on Sableye. But even though Garchomp has 130 attack without a boosting item or anything, that's like the low end of the spectrum in terms of power at OU. You have to understand how powerful OU is nowadays, where everything has upwards of 120 on their attacking stat, maybe has Life Orb, Choice Specs, and when you consider all of that, I'm just not convinced that Sableye properly keeps up with the offensive meta in order to, quote, significantly wall the metagame. I don't know if that's still the standard they use today. I heard there were some changes surrounding that, about how they've ditched the old definitions of the old standards for banning a Pokemon, but I can't imagine that my assessment is in any way invalid, even if that did happen. Again, I've been away from Smogon for a while, so I'm not in the loop. But those are my thoughts as far as Sableye goes. Even it has few resistances, few weaknesses, obviously just one weakness, but it doesn't have, even after Mega Evolving, I don't think it has the raw bulk to keep up with the offensive power of OU, and I say, first impression, this could change. This is subject to change as I play the suspect ladder, and of course I'll be recording that for y'all. But initial reaction to Sableye, Mega Sableye, no ban. Shadow Tag's different though. I support the Shadow Tag ban for a number of reasons. First, I just feel like there's a precedent for it. Lower tiers have banned. It's always seemed odd to me that lower tiers have banned Shadow Tag at one point, at several points actually, Ubers has considered banning its most prominent shadow tag users, but never an OU. I always found it kind of odd. And now I guess OU is catching up to the other tiers. Shadow tag is an ability that I just think is inherently uncompetitive. I've always felt that way ever since around Gen 5, around late Gen 5, when I was really getting into the hang of things for the first time. Even though I love Gothitelle, Gothitelle is one of my favorite Pokemon. The things I've been seeing on the ladder now that I've been getting back into competitive Pokemon, not just on, like, obviously the main frustration with this is Gothitelle on stall and how it's used to break down. It's basically used to trap either like stall breakers that could potentially break that stall, and along with Mega Sableye, that makes for some really solid stall teams that have just been pissing people off because Gothitelle just skilllessly traps their stall breaker. That's what it's there for. At least that's the impression I get. But even on more balanced squads, which is where I use Gothitelle, like, it can just trap anything, and it has just the right move pool and just the right stats to barely get the job done. And the burden of playing flawlessly is always on the opposing side. The pressure is always on the opposing side to avoid Gothitelle, to make those aggressive plays so that you don't have Gothitelle in on the Pokemon, on the one check that's dealing with your opponent's threat. So I just think it gives it gives an unfair advantage from the beginning of the game, even though Gothitelle is a mediocre Pokemon without Shadow Tag. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I didn't explain that well, but basically I'm in favor of banning Shadow Tag. And I definitely think that Shadow Tag combined with Mega Sableye is the source of all of the frustration. And if you ban one or the other, see, my fear is that if you ban Mega Sableye and you don't ban Shadow Tag, I do not think that's going to happen. In fact, I will bet you any amount that is not going to be the result of this test. But let's say hypothetically that happened and we banned Mega Sableye and we didn't ban Shadow Tag, we'd still have Cancer Stall, because the source of the problem, like, Mega Sableye is just like a complement to Shadow Tag Gothitelle. It's like the ketchup on the burger. That was a really bad analogy, but you have to take care of the source of the problem, and that's Shadow Tag Goth. Getting rid of Sableye alone is not going to rid us of this problem of having Shadow Tag Goth that is taking out all of our stall breakers. And if you do it vice versa, you get rid of Shadow Tag Goth, but you keep Mega Sableye, I'm pretty confident that the amount of Cancer Stall is going to diminish on the ladder. And it's not like you can't use Mega Sableye on balanced teams as well. Maybe not offense, but just balanced teams. Mega Sableye is perfectly viable, and Mega Sableye without Gothitelle, I feel, is a lot more bearable. Again, because of what I said before about Mega Sableye just not having the raw bulk. Its HP is really low to take those neutral hits. So those are my first impressions. I'm gonna leave a link to this thread in the description. You are free to make your own judgments. You don't have to agree with me. I will likely be. I don't know if I'll make it to the Rex. I mean, the Rex are not. They made it a little bit harder. Just a game limit of 75 games. I mean, that's usually where I end up, around like 60 to 70. But who knows? Maybe I'm a little bit rusty, but then again, I'm confident that the community will make the right choice. And even if they make a choice that I don't agree with, I'll just suck it up and deal with it. I don't use either of these things much at all. I've never actually used Mega Sableye. I maybe used it like once. I typically tend to go for I typically favor very offensive styles, if not just plain balance with like bulky offense. That's always been my affinity. So Mega Sableye has always been just way too passive for me, especially because like the main set now is not even the Calm Mindset, which I feel like that would be something I would go for. But that set's actually not really as good anymore. People are just using the standard support set that's seen on stall. See, that's a set that I really have never it's never drawn my attention to the point where I'm like, oh yeah, Mega Sablenite, that's my thing. So regardless of the result, I don't think I'm gonna have too much of a problem. So yeah, tell me what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you all next time.